Hello everyone and welcome yet again for another Total Warcast. I'm your host Dilly, reporting almost live from Snowy Tops, Norway, and this is episode 19, the one you've been waiting for, the interview with Creative Assembly. Joining me in my, sort of studio in the TeamSpeak channel here, server, is Jack Lusted.
Hello.
Yes, hello Jack. Hello. Welcome yet again.
Yes, nice to be back.
Yeah, so how are you? Are you good?
Good, thanks. Lovely, relaxing weekend.
Awesome. I have not had a calm and relaxing weekend. I worked my ass off, and yeah, it is showing.
That always sucks.
Yeah. So today we have actually two co-hosts joining me and Jack. The first one is, my lovely Gunny.
Hello.
From across the sea, and of course Leonidas the lion.
Hello, people.
Yes. So we are actually four people in this podcast tonight, which is pretty epic. We have not had that high of a number of people on the podcast before, so I'm excited to see how we do. Anyhow, this is the interview with CA. We have compiled all the questions that you've sent in, and thank you all for that, because it was a lot of questions. It really turned out good. But, just so you guys know, there's a lot, we had to edit out tons of questions because just of the nature of it and how it will be difficult to answer it at this time, and just we wanted to keep something just in general because Rome 2 is so early in development and there's not really any concrete answers to it, so it would just be on and on, just oh no, we can't answer that and all that. Yeah. Also, we are also splitting the questions into different segments. Also like single player, multiplayer, tech information, all that. So I will probably hit up some annotations to tell you when it starts, so you can just click on that, coming back for later references. So yeah, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's great. Okay, so first segment is single player battle, the battle section. The question coming from, we have not no names, but at least the question here coming first is lead battle designer Jamie Ferguson said that there would be a beach landings. In other words, will one be able to make some troops hit the harbor and go into the city from there? Will a main force move into the front walls, or just one or the other?
Yes, combined battles are a big new thing in Rome 2. It's why we wanted to show off the Battle of Carthage as one of our first battles, because it combined an assault from the land with an assault from the sea. So in the battle we've shown to journalists, there's an army already landed. The main fleet comes in, lands more troops on the beach, who man siege engines and start to attack the walls, and some ships even sail into the harbour and begin to bombard the town from there.
So can you actually unload the troops into the harbor area as well? So it's like...
Yes, you can. I mean, some of the stuff will be will possibly change as we get into development more and see how it all plays, but the idea is, yes, you can land troops into beaches, you can land troops into the harbours, and there is no real differentiation anymore between land and naval battles in the engine. It is just battles, so if you've got ships, you've got land units, they can all fight together.
Cool.
I can't wait. Something I really wanted for Shogun 2, but Shogun 2 wasn't really a battle, or, the battles didn't really say that, wasn't really needed to land troops, but it would be awesome if we could, it's gonna be interesting. Should we move on to the next question then?
Yes, our next question is, will larger ships like triremes have catapults and ballistas with the fire option and marines to capture enemy vessels?
Yes, we'll certainly have vessels in the game who have artillery mounted on them which they can fire at ships and at city walls if they're close. There are ships in the Carthage battle which are used in the battle to fire at the walls, and it's really nice. It looks really awesome.
Cool.
What about marines though? Can you have guys that will jump from ship to ship somehow and capture, if the enemy has vessels or anything?
Now we'll certainly have boarding in the game, just like it was in Shogun 2. You'll be able to board elf ships and take them out.
Okay.
Something coming up now. Are you gonna have the what's it called again? The bronze spike on the Roman ships that they used to destroy the Carthage navy? I'm sorry, popping this question out that just came out up with it now. Do you know that?
The Corvus.
Yes.
Yes, it's certainly something we're looking at. Again, how exactly it works, we're still playing with that and how it will be.
Okay. Oh, we'll leave that details for that later at least. But thank you.
Yes.
Next question. Will there be ship-to-ship combat? And if so, will it be in the Shogun 2 style, where it has the guys and the bows and such, and then you board them? Or will there be ramming involved, like true Roman, triremes and such?
There'll certainly be a mixture of both. Ships have, from this time period, were famous for their rams, and you'll certainly be able to ram enemy ships to try and take them out. It's going to be a tricky option at times, but it's certainly a tactic you can employ, and ships will have different types of marines on them, so you have ranged ones and melee-focused ones. I mean, we really want to try and get the depth of tactics that there is in the land battles into naval battles, so that there's a lot more variety in what you can do.
Very awesome.
Very cool, very cool. Next question is actually a term that was born in when Shogun 2 came out, and that's the term Spider-Man, where they kind of spread their legs out and climb the walls, which is of course accurate in terms of Shogun 2. But will this be possible in Rome 2?
No, we've got no plans currently for Spider-Man. We've got ladders, siege towers, artillery to blow up the walls. That'll be how you get into a settlement.
Or naval, going into with the navy.
Yeah, exactly. Attacking from the sea.
Yeah. Leonidas.
Okay. Now we're moving on to, well, a sort of campaign section, more campaign-oriented questions. And our first question is, in Rome 2 Total War, will there be Greek city-states just as they were, one faction in Rome 1, basically? Or will we have separate, Athenian or Spartan factions?
The Greek cities will certainly be split up in Rome 2, at least. I should preface all this campaign stuff with, we're not going to be revealing the campaign map itself for a while, so these questions are all as we currently intend them to be, and things may change. But yes, currently the plan is to split up the Greeks into multiple factions. I mean, the faction cap's risen a lot since the original Rome, where in the current engine it's unlimited, but you don't want to go too mad with it. So there will certainly be a lot more factions on the campaign map than the original Rome.
Yay.
Yeah, that's a lot of people gonna share about that.
A lot of people are going to hear about it. Alright, moving on to the next question. Units. Will there be a lot more units in Rome 2 than there were in Rome 1 or any of the other previous Total War games? And as an aside from that, do you plan on representing the legions in any way?
Yes, there are going to be a lot of units in Rome 2, and I mean a lot. We're certainly going into a lot more depth, differentiating between the different cultures on the map, so that you'll get different rosters when you're playing as the Germanics, as opposed to the Celts, as opposed to the Iberians. The Carthaginians will be different. We really want to emphasise that difference between factions, so that each time you play a faction, it really feels different.
Awesome. And anything about legions, or do you want players to make their own?
Yes, I mean, we're certainly there's going to be much more emphasis on armies this time round, and there's going to be some very cool campaign stuff going on with that, and can't say more for that for now, but yeah, we're doing some interesting stuff with armies.
Awesome,
cool. Well, you lead unit design, right?
Yep.
So you have a lot of units, I'm guessing.
Yes, I come up with a unit list for the game.
So like those, all those units in Rome 2, those are gonna be maybe your team's work that we're gonna see.
Yes, they will be.
That's kind of cool.
So if I'm not happy with something, can I just personally rage at you at release? Yeah.
You're more than welcome to.
Official punching bag of Creative Assembly. Okay, my question now: will there be a Tech 3 like in the other newer games? Do we need to research Testudo, the formation where they use their shields on top of their heads in fronts? And on top of it, the anti-archer one, or to use them, do they get it when you make them? Is that I
mean, there is plans to be a tech tree-like system in Rome 2. Exact details you haven't finalised yet. What abilities they unlock or what upgrades they do hasn't been balanced yet, but yeah, there will be a progression system in there.
Very neat.
Our next... okay. It is me, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Our next question is, will there be politics in Rome 2 Total War? Can I, for example, kill Caesar and then, get crowned emperor or something, or take over?
Politics is really a big thing in this time period, and we're certainly putting more emphasis on it, along with characters in general. I mean, all that intrigue and backstabbing is really fun, and we want to get that in the game and make it a key thing.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a big part of the whole Roman Republic bit. Can't wait to hear a bit more about it.
Yeah, hope it's gonna be like in Shogun 2, where you can give away your kids, or take kids' personal hostages. Be cool.
Now moving on to the next question. What do you have in mind for the agents for Rome 2 Total War? Like religious agents, assassins, stuff like that.
There's certainly going to be a wide variety of agents. The exact details again, because we're fairly early on in development, not finalised yet, but there will be different agents to what we've seen in previous games. We're certainly looking at some new and interesting ways for them to be used to add that extra bit of variety and gameplay into the campaign.
Okay, next question. Aside from the factions of the original Rome Total War, will there be any new factions, like an Indian faction or Celtic faction?
And this relates back to the earlier question about Greek cities. There's no longer a faction cap, so there's going to be a lot of factions in the campaign. The number of playable factions will be around the same amount, because there's a lot of work that goes into them, so that it doesn't scale up very well. But there's going to be a lot of factions in the campaign now.
Well, you sort of just killed the next question.
Sorry, missed that one.
So I guess I'll just skip to the next one, and then we can just keep the order going.
But what about well, you talk about Numidia, Macedon, and all that.
He just answered that question. I'm not going to ask him the same question again.
Oh, you answered it, so you can play.
No, he answered that it's going to have the same number of playable factions as the original, because they take time to develop.
Okay. Well, we could just say the question now, just to keep the order going. So.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Well, basically, will unplayable factions from the first Rome Total War be playable, like Macedon or Numidia, without having to mod the game?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, as I just said, there'll be a similar number of
and as I
factions to the previous game.
as I acknowledged and explained to Daily.
I just didn't want to break up the question order, and I wanted you to have your chance of glory by asking this question. So basically same
and sounding like an
time.
idiot.
I'm sounding like an idiot now. Yeah. Same number of playable factions in Rome 2 as in Rome 1. Yes. Okay.
A similar amount.
And
To be specific.
Excellent. So moving on to the next one, though. Over the years, the TW series, there's always been, people saying, oh, the AI isn't good enough, or, thinking of ways to improve the AI. But what are you doing to improve the AI for Rome 2 and make it a great AI?
I mean, we're really going to carry on doing what we've been doing for the past few titles, which is work on improving the AI gradually as we go on. We've got more AI programmers than we've ever had, more work goes into it, and the AI has been getting better, and we're going to carry on with that, make it into a really interesting game, so the AI opponents feel interesting to play against, really make the game fun.
Cool. We need that. So yeah, yes, this is actually quite a interesting question. Will you have to retire or replace units after a period of time? For example, the legionnaires of Roman faction, they retired after 30 years, I think, or 20 years of service.
Yeah, I saw that thread. No, we currently have no plans to make you to have units just disband after a certain amount of time or force you to replace them. It feels like unnecessary micromanagement. I mean, units nowadays have been around for hundreds of years, even though the men in them aren't the same. So it's just assumed in the game that over time the men in the unit get replaced.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Our next question, will there be random natural catastrophes, like Mount Etna? I want to see those volcanoes exploding.
Yes, there will be natural disasters. Yes, volcanoes. Just like in Shogun 2. I mean, they weren't as common in Shogun 2 as they were in the original Rome, but there will certainly be natural disasters in the game again.
Excellent.
Very neat.
I'm just wondering, do you define a plague as a natural disaster or not? You want to call
game terms, I suppose they would be. The difference really in the original Rome was that there was the Macedonian plague, which was set to happen at the game start in Macedon.
Oh.
But yeah, it's one of those things that, after a certain amount of time through Rome, you'd get plague in Pella and Macedon, always a pain in the arse when you're playing it, but made things interesting. But yeah, I'm certainly looking to make it more dynamic and interesting, make it different each time you play.
Cool. Gunny?
Yes, next question. Now will Egypt, since it's being featured, will it be Ptolemaic, like the descendants of Alexander, or will it be Pharaohic?
Egypt will mainly be Ptolemaic, but with certainly more Egyptian influences into it. We're pushing it a bit more into having more Egyptian style stuff in it than historically was there. But at the core, it will be Ptolemaic style units, pikemen, Hellenic style cavalry, but with more Egyptian units thrown in there as well, making it interesting.
So it'll have a nice Egyptian flair to it.
Yeah, it'll be historical twists on accurate Ptolemaic Egypt. So it'll have the core Greek units there, but with more Egyptian flavour thrown in.
Should be interesting to see.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce it, so.
The P is silent, Daily.
Yeah. Okay. So more. I don't really have a question, but it's just a generalization that. Jack says that we will be talking more about the campaign at a later date, so we will get more, of course, campaign information later.
Yeah, I just wonder. It's still early in the game's development, so we're not going to reveal the campaign map for a while, and we don't want to blow our load in terms of information straight away. So more information will come before we release the game.
Yeah. Leonidas, you want to go into the next segment?
Yeah, our next segment will be general gameplay, and our first question will be about faction personalities in Rome 2 Total War. For example, like here in the question, will the Gauls be a more, ambush-oriented faction, or will they charge more than usual? Has the AI been, sort of mapped that each faction has its own sort of personality?
I mean, this time period is fantastic for diversity. I mean, it's the most diverse period we've ever covered in the Total game. All these really different cultures all on one map. The exact natures of how each faction plays or each culture plays is still being worked on as the game is in development. But yes, we're certainly wanting to emphasise that diversity, make it so each faction plays differently.
Okay, looking forward to getting ambushed in some Germanic forest somewhere, and then losing all my legions, but okay.
That's what you get when you try to get into northern lands.
I don't think they ever invaded Norway, Daily.
Let me dream, okay, that Norway will feature in this, okay? Oh, we were actually living in mud huts and throwing rocks at each other, so, at that point.
Speaking of Rome invading Norway, will Rome 2 be more historically focused? Because I know a lot of complaints from Rome 1 were that, things didn't quite add up. So are we going to be seeing a lot more historical accuracy here?
I mean, like I said in the thread I've set on Total Center, it's difficult to talk in terms of historical accuracy because there's always things we'll compromise on for gameplay in terms of historical accuracy. Battles could take hours or days, and we don't want people to have to spend days in a single battle. So there's things we'll tweak for historical accuracy. I personally think it's more worthwhile to talk about historical authenticity, getting the look of factions right, getting the feel of them right, looking at what they were like historically and trying to extract that out into the game. I mean, we're certainly aiming for more of that. Like, unit-wise, pretty much all of our parts we have for units is based on either archaeological finds, pottery, sculptures, or descriptions from authors. So we're certainly aiming for more historical authenticity in the game.
Well, the problem with historical accuracy is that it demotes fun a little bit, so I always hope that you will be historically accurate to a point and not really destroy the fun out of it. So I'm crossing my fingers for this.
Looking forward to it.
We don't want to. We don't want to compromise the gameplay. Gameplay is important to us, but we want to take what features we can from history and add them into the game so that there's more depth, more flavour to the game.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't sacrifice gameplay and the general fun of the game for historical accuracy. I think that's wrong. So yeah, next question. Do you plan on having historical battles? Yeah. If so, which one do you have in mind?
There will certainly be historical battles making a return in Rome 2. Exact ones are still being discussed on which ones will do, but yes, they will be back in Rome 2 to be played.
Cool, awesome.
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to some like historical naval battles now that we can have, ships ramming each other or something like that. That's something to look forward to, I guess.
We can have the one where the Romans finally beat the Carthaginians at sea. That would be actually quite historical.
Quite awesome.
Yeah, we certainly have a long list of potential battles to pick from. We're currently deciding on that at the moment.
There certainly were no shortage of battles.
You should fight over it just to make it a little bit more exciting at the office. Bare knuckle fight over which historical battle we should have.
We'll certainly make for an interesting design meeting.
Yeah. So, Leonidas, you want to take away the next question?
Our next question, which is, I think, a hotly debated topic now on the forums, is: are there going to be incendiary pigs?
There will be a pig unit. I mean, exact implementation hasn't been decided upon yet, but there will be one in there. Because they're historically attested. They're written in Roman records, the use of pigs to scare elephants. But I think a point of emphasising is that, as in the past few games, we've had those more out there units, which are historically accurate. I mean, we don't just pluck them out of thin air. We look in the records and find what we can to put them in the games, because it adds flavour and variety. It's like one of those, wow, they did that moments. And yeah, generally history is stranger than you think. But as has been the case in the past few games, there's not going to be legions of flaming pigs conquering the map. I mean, we try to put them in a reasonable way.
I would actually enjoy fielding a army of pigs. It would be quite awesome.
I mean, there's nothing stopping the player from doing that. It might not be a good idea, but you can go ahead and do it.
Alright, the next, moving on to the next question. Will we be able to see great leaders like Hannibal, Alexander, Julius Caesar, and so on and so forth in the campaign at all?
We are looking to implement historical characters in the campaign. Exactly how and when they'll appear, we're still working on. But yeah, we certainly want to get them in there so you can get them pop up occasionally.
I look forward to besting Hannibal.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask a question which is kind of obvious, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless because we chose it. We thought it was good to give Jack a yes or no question. So, will it be using Steam?
Yes. Rome 2, just like Empire, Napoleon and Shogun 2, will be using Steam.
Awesome. Next question.
Okay, the next question is, will cavalry units in Rome 2 be able to dismount and fight like in your more recent titles?
This feature will certainly be coming across from the previous titles into Rome 2. It's a really useful feature, especially in situations like sieges or where you're pinned down by lots of pike units and you don't really want to charge your cavalry into them.
Very
Excellent.
neat. Alright, next question. Now, we know that you mentioned the some of the artillery that will be on ships, but overall, will we be seeing a lot more siege engines available than in some of the previous titles?
There'll certainly be a lot available in Rome 2. I mean, we've got different sizes of ballistas, we've got onagers, we've got scorpions, and possibly one or two more, depending on how things go. But yeah, there's going to be a nice variety of things to blow other things up with.
Best part of any war game.
Oh, I've a related question. Are they going to be the return of the sappers with the sapping sort of siege engine / feature?
Well, the small goblin ones with the black powder kegs on the back.
Yeah, people would just disappear underneath and then re-emerge, and the walls would just explode.
Oh, those ones. Oh, okay. I was hoping for suicide bombers, but oh well.
Sapping is one of those features that we're not quite sure how it's going to be making a return yet. We certainly want it to be in there. It's a nice, interesting mechanic for additional ways of attacking in sieges, but we'll see how it gets implemented. Not finalised yet.
Here's hoping.
Okay.
Here's hoping. Would be cool if you could load your catapults with, heads or something, like in
Flaming pigs.
Flaming, yeah, exactly.
Yes, dear God, we need to have that, Jack. Can you do this?
Well, interesting historical fact. When they did Flaming Shot, they used pig carcasses to sew them up. They used pig carcasses, filled them full of straw, and sewed them up and set them on fire. So they were technically flaming pig shot.
Well, what's stopping you then? You have actually a historical knowledge.
Well, we're certainly going to have flaming shot available for artillery weapons.
Excellent.
Call them Danagers instead of Onagers, and then you, yeah. Awesome. Okay, the multiplayer section. Well, it kind of got shut down, so I'm just gonna. Jack, you might. Well, we had some questions for the multiplayer section, but you can just say it now.
There's some big things going on with multiplayer, some really interesting changes. I mean, it's something we're not going to be talking about for quite a while because we're still investigating how it's all working and playing with systems and the like, but it's a big change, and we'll be talking about that later on.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Leo?
Isn't Gunny
you
supposed
wanted
to
me
start
to
the text section?
start the text section? Yes.
Never mind. Sorry, Gunny, go ahead.
Now, this is a question that's on a lot of people's minds, something that's been a very big discussion for the past couple games, and that's modding. A lot of questions are how mod friendly will it be? Will the Rome 2 database be very different from the previous Warscape games, or will it be similar? And will you guys be taking questions on Rome 2 at the mod summit that's actually very soon?
I mean, I really want to leave the modding stuff because we've got the mod summit coming up. We're going to have modders coming in. We're going to be talking to them. Shogun 2 will be covered, and also probably questions about Rome. I mean, what we're going to do for Rome, I'm not going to talk about that yet, but I mean, there's a mod summit coming up, there'll be stuff happening for Shogun 2, and Rome 2 will be different from Shogun 2. It's a heavily modified Warscape engine, there's going to be a lot of changes going on under the hood, but we'll be talking about more at the mod summit.
Yeah, question, are you going to personally participate in the mod summit?
Oh, yes, I will be at the mod summit.
Okay, well, I have no one to be on the inside, so I need some information about it afterwards it happened. Will you be my guy? Maybe?
Oh, yeah, I think we could possibly arrange another podcast to cover that.
Yeah, or you could just send me a
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
We
need some information to the masses.
Yeah.
People
I'll
know
chat
what's
to
going on.
I'll chat to Craig and people on Monday, see what they can do.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, let's move on.
Our next question is something that is been debated a lot, and that is multiple core support, quad core, multi-threading, etc. Will the engine now support it fully?
We're certainly going to be improving our multi-core support for Rogue 2, doing more to spread the load over more cores. It's not going to be probably even overall cores. I mean, multi-threading is perhaps the biggest programming challenge there is in games at the moment. And with games like ours, where, for example, our battle model relies on a lot of internal consistency to run, it's not easy to spread things off into other threads and have the game and have it boost performance. I mean, at the moment, if we tried to thread some parts of our game, it would reduce performance instead of increasing it, because there's a cost in programming of checking to make sure the threads are consistent. But we're certainly looking to improve it, multi-core support will improve, and we're certainly looking at improving things like load times and performance generally for Rogue 2.
Okay.
Oh. Yes. Next question. What are the improvements over past Total War graphic engines?
Oh, sorry, I've lost my questions.
What are the improvements over the past Total War graphics engines?
No, I mean, I've closed my question page. Sorry.
Oh, no,
right, okay, I can answer it. Give me a second. There's a variety of ways in which the graphical engine is being improved. We've got a new lighting system going in, which we show off really well in Carthage with the lighting and the smoke in the sky. There's a reworked unit variant system to improve the graphical diversity and quality of units. We've got new decal systems going in to improve terrain and look of soldiers as well. There's a lot changing.
Cool.
Very neat. Maybe we want to get back on track and have Leo take the next.
Oh, it's the last one.
We have two more.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that one.
Okay, I don't mind. Is Rome 2 Total War gonna be playable on Windows XP?
Yes, we're aiming for the system requirements for Rome 2 to be not that different from Shogun 2.
So that's a yes for XP.
Yes.
And the people who can mostly run Shogun 2 now should be able to have a good time.
Yeah, that is the aim.
Lagging
Excellent.
their way into death and hell and beyond.
I guess our final question is about the future. What does Creative Assembly's future look like? You guys have covered a lot of the interesting times when big armies clashed against each other, so what happens after Rome 2?
Big things. I mean, we've got a plan in place. We as a company tend to have the next few years planned out well in advance, so we know exactly what we're going to be doing. And big stuff coming up. But we're not going to be talking about this for a while. I mean, we've got Rome 2 coming out next year. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and you won't hear really anything for a while on future plans.
I can't wait. It's so, like, I feel like, oh my god, Rome 2, Rome 2, Rome 2, and then it's like, okay, it's over a year from now. Yeah, was it 2013? When was it again? I can't remember. Late 2013?
Fourth quarter, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still over a year to release.
Well, that sucks. Yeah.
Get it
It's
for,
a big
get it
game.
for people for their Christmas presents. Buy all your friends.
I don't have that kind of cash lying around.
Well, you have a year to save.
So I'm gonna buy it. That's my goal. I'm gonna buy Rome 2 to all the my favorite people in TWC.
People will hold you to that. Be careful.
No. I'm not. Never mind. So yeah, that's
The magic of editing.
Yes. No, actually, I'm not gonna. There's very little problems here, actually. So I rarely edit much, depending on what is said and what is done. You know, it depends really. But yes. Well, that's actually all the questions we have. We can of course, go back and look at some of the things, but that's actually all the questions we've put down. So
Aside from the 200 question thing that we gleaned all of these questions from.
Yeah.
yeah. So like people, well, what? You didn't ask my question. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We should have asked all those. I thought over 100 questions to Jack, and he could have barely answered 75 like 30% of them.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, but still, it's like very.
There is never a shortage of questions.
No,
There's not.
So it's actually the last Warcast we did is actually the one who has gotten the most response in terms of likes, dislikes. It actually doesn't that many dislikes, which is awesome. Thumbs up. I hate dislikes. Not I'm just joking. And of course a lot of comments, and the thread alone on the TWC, the one with the question for CA, was quite popular, and in quite a short time we got like 5 pages, so that's quite cool, and 5,000 views, so that's not bad, I think, at all.
Most certainly not.
Indeed. Yeah, so actually I of course now I just have to think, is there anything more we can ask Jack while he's here? We have to really now he's here, we can capture him.
I guess I have a unit question since Jack does the units. Are there going to be any sort of, like, joke units in there? Like, those big mammoth elephants that were in the first one that you use the console command to get?
We haven't really decided on Easter egg stuff yet. That tends to be something we put in near the end once most other stuff is done.
When you're bored? Basically?
It's always a good bit of fun.
Yeah, I can bet. Something also wondering a little bit about also units, different formations and all types of stuff like that. Is it like we talked about, you will go for different play styles, and different types of how unit will act depending on their culture and all that. Is that going to be implemented into unit formations, and you're going to have a little bit more unit formation than just tight and spread out, or?
I mean, we're certainly going to be having more formations in than in Rome 1. There'll be not only will Testudo and Phalanx return, but we'll differentiate between hoplite phalanxes and pike phalanxes. We'll see shield walls and Roman cavalry wedge formation as opposed to Macedonian wedge formation. There's going to be a pair of special abilities.
There are so many people that's gonna just, oh my god, you're gonna difference, because I remember a question that was about Macedon and Greek phalanxes, and I'm not sure if you're gonna difference between that at the moment, but at least there will be differences, which is important to make all the different factions playable in their own right, making it feel like a different experience. So that's quite cool. Gunny, do you have any questions?
Yeah, will you be open to doing another Warcast closer to the release?
Yeah, no, certainly. I'm doing that.
Awesome. Well, that was actually a question I'm gonna ask before. So thank you, Gunny, for stealing my question. But
you're very welcome.
There's no problem nonetheless. So yeah, actually, I have nothing more to come up with. It was really nice we finally could do this, and I got some hours ahead of me to actually get it up and running, get the thread going, and all that. So I don't know if it's just nothing more. I think that actually we can call it a night.
Well, there is one thing I read, which most of us already know the answer to, but I'm just going to ask it so those people can just, feel, satisfied. Naked fanatics, are they going to be naked or are they going to be topless? Basically, is the question.
There will be loincloths on them.
Yes.
There you have it, folks.
Yeah, of course they will have loincloths. What the hell? Come on, people. Think. We can.
You'd be surprised. They've been discussing it for 3 or 4 pages about whether or not they're gonna do that. So now that we know,
Well, in Rome 2 general discussion. Okay, let me get ring phone flask. Okay. Oh, look at this. Well, the thing is, like, we talked about blood and gore in our last interview. I think Lustin talked about trying to still reach out to a more wider audience. Of course, and that is important to keep up the sales. And to be honest, it's not that's your main concern of the Total Wars franchise, to get a bunch of naked men running around. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about it. So yeah, Jack, is there anything you want to say to the listeners while you're here, or should we just call it quits?
It is the biggest Total War game ever. More units, more factions, more regions. It is huge. It's going to be epic.
So we should have high hopes.
Oh yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Awesome! I can't wait. Okay, well guys, actually that is it. I think I can't pester my colleagues or my guest anymore if there's no point to it. I want to thank everyone for listening. Of course, we will have Jack on for later and other topics as well, if he wants to. I guess that he wants
more than willing to come back online.
Awesome. And so this was episode 19 of season 2 of the Total Warcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. I was your host, Daily, reporting almost live from Snowy Tops, Norway. And enjoy your Sunday evening, or, well, rest of your week, rest of the year, rest of your life. Goodbye.